Well, Growers Edge, I think, has made us more money by allowing me to survey the local bids that I'm in the area that I want to sell my grain. The local elevators and the ethanol plants know that this information is out there, so they've got to be competitive if they want to get the grain. You know, we've been able to maximize our return on our farm.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. It's September 23rd, 2013. I'm Logan Burgess. To my right here is Brock Shimano to help break down the action that we saw on a Monday in the grain market. Let's jump into Fire Tip and see where we closed out the session. Corn picking up 2 1/4 on the new crop contract. Soybeans, once again, the leader to the downside, down 7.5 cents today. Chicago wheat, kind of one spot where we did see some strength today. We're going to get to that in a minute. But overall, a relatively quiet start to the week. Starting off that trade session, though, was the export inspections report, and that did give traders something to talk about, particularly for wheat. Brock, can you kind of break down what we saw there?
You know, we did have pretty good export inspections once again for wheat. If you take a look at this chart here, you can see over the last 6 weeks or so, we've had exceptionally good export inspections to report there. The green line is what we need to be seeing for a seasonal pace of wheat leaving the country to meet the current USDA projections. So you can see we're exceeding that pace quite handily over the last several weeks or so. On the year, we're ahead by about 90 million bushels currently. This week alone, we actually saw 42 million bushels leaving the country. You know, if we take a look at corn real quick, about 17 million bushels left the country for corn this week. We're currently about 17 million bushels behind pace to meet the corn expected pace, and for soybeans, 16 million bushels left the country this weekend. We're just slightly behind the USDA pace there. So, you know, not a whole lot to report on corn and soybeans. Only a couple weeks into the marketing year there, but wheat has really been the highlight for export inspections so
certainly.
far.
You know, in terms of the balance sheet right now, Brock, do you think that given the pace of export inspections, there's a good chance we may see a revision higher to the USDA numbers in the October WASDE?
You know, there's a little bit of a difference between export inspections and export sales. Export sales, we're sitting about 50 million bushels ahead of pace. Export inspections, the amount of grain that's actually leaving the country, we're about 90 million bushels ahead. So, you know, if you take a look at what's actually leaving the country, we could see a little bit of a revision, but you have to pay attention to the export sales. That's what could get jostled around a little bit in the USDA report.
Certainly still a lot of time left in the marketing year. We'll help keep you posted, though, on that as we approach that October WASDE report. One report that we did get out this afternoon was the USDA crop condition and progress report. Take a look here at this slide detailing how the corn and soybean crops are now looking in terms of maturity. And actually kind of the big number that people are looking at initially today was that good to excellent rating. We see up 2% on corn, and soybeans remained unchanged. So in general, the trade was looking for a little bit of a bounce here for corn and soybeans based on the rains that we had last week that this report really did not deliver. But is this something that's really going to propel the market higher here today? I would say no, and that's based on the maturity of the crop. Take a look here. 40% of corn is now mature, 7% harvested. Similar situation for soybeans, 47% now dropping leaves, 3% harvested. That harvested number was the first reported number from the USDA, and well behind where we typically see it. Over the last 5 years, at this time in the marketing year, growing season, we expect 16% of corn harvested, 9% of soybeans harvested. So we've been talking about it quite a bit. Certainly the frost freeze threat is still in this market. Take a look here, though, at this map provided by Planalytics. You can see this here map takes us through October 4th, and we're expecting average temperatures across much of the grain belt, particularly the crop that I think is susceptible to that frost is that Iowa and Minnesota crop. And things should remain relatively average here as we moved into October. But with that said, a lot of people do believe that even an average frost could harm this crop, and it seems like that weather premium might get built in that first or second week of October. Certainly the price action that we've seen today and last week really didn't reflect a market that's concerned about a killing frost here at this point.
You know, everything looks good for the next couple of weeks or so. I anticipate the market kind of chopping around, especially ahead of the reports that are coming up on next Monday. We get the quarterly grain stocks reports. Right. I think traders will start to gear up for that. But until then, we're not going to have a whole lot of new fundamental news. We get the typical reports this week: ethanol production and stocks on Wednesday, export sales on Thursday. Of course, we'll be tweeting those numbers once they come across the newswire. At GrainTV is where you can find us on Twitter.
Thanks a lot for joining us here on a Monday. We'll see you tomorrow for the full recap.